Hi guys, welcome back or welcome to a new video. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Amy. I'm so glad you clicked on this video today. But you tell from the title, I will be doing a little all about my Kindle, and I thought it would be a good idea to do the pros and cons of the Kindle, what I have on it that I want to read, and then give you guys some recommendations. In my last video, my July wrap up, I did mention that a lot of my books that I read were on my Kindle. Also, some of my favourite books I have in paperback you can get on Kindle Unlimited, so I thought it would just be a good idea to do a little video on it. So yeah, get comfy, grab some snacks, get a drink, and let's talk about my Kindle. So first, I will be telling you guys all the boring stuff regarding my Kindle. So I have the Paperwhite Kindle 11th generation 2021. I have it in 6.8 and then 8GB, so mine just like that. I bought a case from Amazon. I got some stickers from Etsy, and then this little thing is from Etsy. It was the perfect size. I feel like I sometimes read on my phone, but since I've had a Kindle, it's the best thing ever. Just got it in black because I think that was the only one you could get. I see people with really cute colours like khaki and green, like other different types of green and like beige and that, but I could only get black when I went to get it, and it was a birthday present. I was so skeptical to get a Kindle in the first place, even though before I started getting paperbacks I used to always read online or like Wattpad, stuff like that, so I am used to reading on my like phone or digital device. But at the same time, there's something different about just having a paperback, be able to keep it forever, so that's why I love it. But let's not talk about that, it's obviously about Kindle. So now let's talk about the pros and cons. So I have a list of pros and cons all on my phone. So first we're going to start off with the pros. So one pro of the Kindle is that you can read at night, because they have the brightness settings and like warmth settings that you can read at night time. Obviously a paperback, there's no type of light, it's literally just a paperback, so you have to have some type of light to read it. The digital device is able to have its own settings and lighting, so you can actually read it in the dark, which I really like, because I like reading when I go to bed, and being able to read out all different types of the day is just really convenient for me. Two is the fact that you can have all your books on one device, which is really easy and convenient when you need to travel or you're going out. I think sometimes I like to take paperbacks from going out somewhere cute, and it's like, take my little book with me. But if I'm traveling, especially on holiday, it's a bit easier to take a Kindle with you, because you can have like 3-4 books without having it take up room in your luggage. This just slips straight into my hand luggage, and that's literally it, and that's just literally perfect for me. The pro of the Kindle is the fact that I finish books quicker. I feel like on the Kindle you naturally read more, and like the fact that you can just tap it easily. Well, obviously when you have paperback you have to flip the pages, and also for some reason it can be really daunting when you have a thick book trying to read it when it's a paperback. Whereas on my Kindle, there's some books that I've read that are like 700 pages long, but I've been able to read it in like a day just because it's on my Kindle. I don't know why. Like if you're really struggling on a book, go and see if it's on Kindle Unlimited, and then you can like read it on there. So sometimes I do that when I'm really struggling to read a book on my TBR. I read it on my Kindle just so I know that I can read it faster rather than like in my paperback. Like for example, today I started reading A Court of Mist and Fury, and I'm only on like 200 pages in, whereas if it was on my Kindle I probably would have been finished the book by now. But obviously there does come with cons with that, which I will tell you guys about in a little bit. Another pro is that you can get Kindle Unlimited on your Kindle. Obviously you can get Kindle Unlimited if you have a phone and you have Kindle on there, but Kindle Unlimited is just really convenient and cost worthy, especially if you're downloading loads of books all the time and you're making use of it. With Kindle Unlimited you have access to millions and millions of different books, especially I've noticed that a lot of the popular books are coming out on Kindle Unlimited, which I really love. Also your favourites from like the past or a couple of years ago, you can find them on there, and I just find it just really enjoyable knowing that I have millions and millions and millions of books. I'm always going to have recommendations on what to read next. Also reviews as well that you can do on there, and it's just really helpful. Following on from reviews and the fact that you have loads of millions and millions of people rating it, you can connect it to your Goodreads account, which means that you can, once you finish the book, it automatically updates it on your Goodreads, and it's just a lifesaver for me. Same with if I find a book on my Kindle but I want to check it out on my Goodreads, I can literally just go and check my Goodreads and it'll be there and I can just check what people think of it. I love my Goodreads so much, so if you're not following my Goodreads, go and follow that. I have so many books that I want to read. I think my TBR on my Goodreads is like 360 books. That is just madness, but I just love the fact that I can connect it to my Goodreads and it automatically keeps track of what I'm reading and when. So that is the pros of the Kindle in my opinion. Now I'm going to talk about some of the cons. I don't have as much cons as my positives, but I do have a few things that I don't like about the Kindle. One, I find it very slow sometimes. At the beginning when I first bought it, it was easy to use and felt like it worked really quickly. Now I feel like it's a bit slower and take a while for it to load, so sometimes I'm like tapping to click on something, but I don't really blame it at the same time because it's not as advanced as using a mobile phone or an iPad, so I know that it's just gonna sometimes have its like problems with it. Another con of the Kindle personally for me is that I find it really hard to retain what I've read from a book when I've read it on my Kindle. So I can read like 10 books on my Kindle, but most of the time I can only remember 1 or 2, and that obviously comes along if I like it. But loads of books that I've enjoyed, I just can't remember the plot because I've read it on my Kindle, and I feel like when I read it on my Kindle I can find it easier to just like skip a certain section, or the fact that I can't annotate it, or I don't know how to use annotation features also makes it difficult. I love annotating in my books when I do have the chance, especially with paperbacks, but with Kindle it just doesn't feel the same annotating it through my Kindle. Like, it just doesn't feel right personally. It does have annotation, but even annotations I feel like they're just really hard to do in highlights. I feel like sometimes I'm trying to highlight one section but it highlights the whole thing. Have a paperback, you can literally just simply highlight it yourself and it's just super easy to do. The con about a Kindle is the fact that you can only have 10 books at a time. So you can't have more than 10 books on your Kindle TBR. That is a bit annoying because there are some books that I forget to delete on there that I've read, and then there's some books that I haven't read. Like 8 books I have read, but I want to keep them so I can get paperbacks, and then I want to get new books, and what you have to do is like return stuff, which is really annoying, and I really wish you were able to like keep more on your Kindle. But maybe that's because they don't want it to slow down your Kindle having too many books saved in your library. But for me, it is a bit of a con. The final con that I have is obviously for Kindle Unlimited you pay a price monthly. I think in the UK it's £9.99 and that is for all the books on Kindle Unlimited. But with Kindle Unlimited, not every book is free. There are some books that are free, and then there's some of them that are like £2, so they are cheaper than getting a paperback, but they're not free. And I think like that's sometimes the issue that people have, is they think that all the books you get on Kindle Limited are free. Sometimes you have a discount on there, and it's about deciding if you prefer to get the paperback and spend a bit of that money, or you have it on your Kindle. So me personally, I love paperbacks, and what I do is I might read a book on my Kindle, and if I really like it, buy the paperback. But then if I don't like a book on Kindle Limited that I find, then I just, at least I don't have to pay for it. But obviously if you want to read a book and you have to pay for it on Kindle, in my eyes I prefer to buy the paperback, because I don't like the idea of having to pay to buy a paperback but then also have to pay to read it on Kindle. It's like, even though it's just like £2-3 more, it's just adds up, and I'm too much of a broke girl to be able to. That is it for the pros and cons. Now I am going to talk through all the books I have on my Kindle TBR at the moment, and then we will be speaking about some of my recommendations. On my library is very limited at the moment because my library was filled to the brim, like to the point that when I wanted to download more books, it was like you have to return a book to take a new book. The different books that I have on here so far, I just finished reading Pretty Little Teas. That was quite a good book. It was a dark romance between this girl and then I think they're 2 professors, I can't remember. The books I have on my Kindle TBR, I have My Dark Romeo by Parker S. Huntington. Parker S. Huntington, I've read some of her other books called Devious Lies and then Darling Venom. If you haven't seen my reviews on those, go check out my July wrap up where I talk a bit about them there. And then the other book I have is Unravel Me by Becca Mack. I absolutely adore Becca Mack. I have Consider Me and Play With Me in paperback, but I did read them on my Kindle first, and as soon as I saw that you can get Unravel Me on Kindle Unlimited, I had that purchase, so I'm so excited to read that. And then the last book that I have on my TBR is called Joey by Sadie Kinchait. I can't even say it. But again, I think this one's a mafia romance. I don't know the tropes exactly, but those are all the books I really have on my TBR, because last month I said that I read a lot of Kindle books, and this month I'm trying to read a lot of my paperback books just to lower my physical TBR, which means that I've decided to have a fresh slate on my Kindle and only read the books that I actually had saved there. So I'm not buying any more books, or I'm not going to download any more books on my Kindle until I have feel like I've done enough on my physical thing. But with me at the same time, with these books, I do want to get them done as well. So sometimes I would read these, especially in the evening time, because I like reading when I go to bed. So now let's go through some of my recommendations from Kindle Unlimited on the Kindle. So I have a whole list here of books and series that I really love on Kindle Unlimited. Of course, there's millions and millions and millions, so I'm not going to say all of them, but I have at least 20, I think. I'm going to just have it on the screen. I'm just going to have the different tropes on it and then a picture of the series. I probably have the tropes here and then the photo series here. I don't know yet. But the first book I have is actually two books. So the first two books I have is Kiss to Shatter and Kiss to Savage, which is a Blairwood University series. So it is a series, and it is a college romance, enemies to lovers and brothers best friend trope. And these two books, when I first read them on Kindle, I was obsessed. I rated Kiss to Savage, I think, a 5 stars, because Jane and Prescott, their story, I loved it so much. It wasn't just a typical sports college romance. It dealt with very much interesting topics like cancer and stuff like that, and then obviously best friend's brother, so there's issues in that. But it's such a good series, and I can't wait to read the rest of the books. I think there's 7 books in the series, so that is really good. So go and enjoy that if you haven't read those series. Book that I have read on Kindle Unlimited is Camera Shy by Kay Gove. This is a friends to lovers, neighbours and a plus size FMC. I really like this book because I am not like a skinny woman. I'm not plus size either. I'm a mid-sized girly, but I just love reading books where plus size queens get the love that they deserve, and they're not just the conventional protagonist in books and movies, and it's just lovely and beautiful to see how they're portrayed. And this book was amazing. This book was just amazing, and it is such a good Kindle Unlimited recommendation, so go read it if you haven't. Next book that I have and recommend is Power Play by Maria Lewis. She has so many books on Kindle Unlimited, so go check those out. She has Power Play. I don't know if she's the one that does Hat Trick and stuff like that as well, but this book is a Grumpy and Sunshine trope, and it is a sports romance. A lot of these are sports romance because I love reading them, especially on Kindle, and there's loads of them on Kindle Unlimited, and they're just beautiful. And then the next one, obviously following, I mentioned Parker Huntington, but I have her book Darling Venom on here. This is Enemies to Lovers, an Age Gap, and then Best Friend's Brother, which is Chef's Kiss. This book was so good as well, and if you haven't read it, go read it. This is a book that I definitely want to get on my physical as well. Now that I've read it on my Kindle for free, I definitely know that I want to get it in person. Then another rec is Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. This is a Grumpy Sunshine, slow burn, sports romance, and a forced proximity. Again, all the good tropes in it, and I love a good slow burn. I feel like there's some books that just throw smut at you, but when it has a good storyline and you can feel the tension between the two characters and a romantic relationship, it's just chef kiss. So if you haven't read this book, you are missing out, so go and read it. Recommendation I have is The Locker Room by Megha Quinn. She is another author that is everywhere on Kindle Unlimited. I've read several of her books on there. That's why I love Kindle as well, is the fact that you get introduced to many new authors, especially newer authors that you might not see when you're looking on TikTok, that only show more popular authors. This one is a sports romance, again a college romance. It is one where a guy falls first, which we love. We love when the male protagonists fall first and they do a bit of groveling to show the woman that, you know, I want you and yeah, you're mine. And then we also have the Grumpy and Sunshine. I love that. I feel like I like it better when the woman's grumpy and the guy's not, rather than the guy grumpy and the girl sunshine, because I feel like that's more of a convenient way of writing and like relationships where the guy's more moody than the girl. So that is just really refreshing in my eyes, so go read that. And then another series that I'm going to recommend, again I spoke about Becca Mack and I have Unravel Me, but you can also read Consider Me and Play With Me on there. So Consider Me is a sports romance, it is groveling and it's the male falls first. This one features Carter, one of the best boyfriends you will ever meet in your life. So if you haven't gone and read his book, go and read it. Becca Mack is, oh my gosh, she's a queen. She's a queen when it comes to producing boyfriends, and I just love her for that. And then Play With Me is about Jenny, who is Carter's younger sister. This one is also a sports romance. It's the male falls first, brother's best friend. So there's Garrett and there's Jenny. Jenny is just a fierce character and she doesn't let anyone walk over her, and whereas Garrett is very much like Sunshine. This is a bit like opposite, Sunshine, grumpy, but I wouldn't say she's grumpy. I just feel like she's just sassy and she doesn't let anyone walk all over her. And Garrett's very much like a little puppy dog. That's why I say golden retriever, because boys like that are just little puppy dogs and they're cute. They like follow their girlfriend around, and that is Garrett to the T. This relationship was just beautiful as well, and it has all the good tropes in it. And then Unravel Me, again, is obviously sports romance. It is a single mum romance, and it's also found family, which is chef's kiss, chef's kiss. So that book I'm really excited to read. And another series that I have is by Anna Hugh. I love the Twister series. This is what I'm going to be recommending. The Twister series is obviously a popular series on TikTok and all over the BookTok and YouTube and everything atmosphere, and I read them on paperback, but I found out you can read them on Kindle Limited for free. So if you haven't read the books, go read them. There is Twisted Love, there's Twisted Games, this is Twisted Hate, and there's Twisted Lies. These all follow kind of, the girls are kind of friends with each other, but they're all different tropes. There is a princess trope, princess bodyguard trope, there is enemies to lovers, brother's best friend, there is best friend's brother, hate trope, slow burn, like all the good stuff, and all strong female headstrong women, which we love to see in books. So if you haven't read this series, go and read them. They're the best series that I've ever read in my life, and I'm not going to tell you again. Next book that I have is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. Lucy Score is such a good author as well. I have a few books that I want to read from her. There's also By the Thread from her that is on Kindle Limited. That is a grumpy boss romance, and it's also a comedy kind of romance, stuff like that, a bit of enemies to lovers. Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score is a fake dating, slow burn, age gap and grumpy and sunshine romance. It is also like not single mother, but someone that's caring for a child. So I love that kind of thing. When children are involved, they just make the book a lot better, especially books where the children are just like very sassy and just really cute. The last series that I have to recommend you to read on Kindle Unlimited is the Dreamland Billionaire series by Lauren Asher. It is again one of the best series I've ever read. I love those books so much, I have annotated them to the core, and you can read them on your Kindle. So best believe I'm going to read them on my Kindle, knowing that they're free and that I want to read them again because they're just so beautiful. So we have the fine print, we have terms and conditions, and we have the final offer. These follow three brothers. They all have things that they have to do that's been set by their granddad once he dies, and they have to do it in order to get a different part of the company to overthrow their dad. So each of them have different things. This again has different tropes. It has boss assistant trope, it has second chance romance, it has enemies to lovers. My favourite book out of that series is Terms and Conditions, which is Iris and Declan's story. Them two together are chef's kiss, and again this features a black female main character, which we also love. But yeah, that is the last recommendation that I have. So obviously I know there's millions and millions and millions of different books that you can read on Kindle, so those are not all the ones that you can read and buy, but obviously if you don't have a Kindle, go check it out. Obviously Kindle does cost money, same with paperback, but if you think about it and how much you're going to read, paying $9.99, you're saving a lot of money, and for the books that you get, it's really worth it in my eye. Kindle has really changed my life when it comes to reading, so if you haven't got a Kindle, go and get one. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love talking about my Kindle. I will do it to the ends of the earth. And if you guys enjoyed this type of video, I really love doing sit down videos because I feel like I can do them whilst doing other videos at the same time. I'm currently filming a week-long video, so doing a sit down video like this is just really calming, and it just means that it helps me get my content out and content done. But it doesn't mean that I'm just working on one thing for the whole week and not like making other videos, because doing a week-long video takes quite a while to edit, whereas short videos like this I can edit within a few hours and then get them out for you guys. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're new to this channel, I would really appreciate a thumbs up and a subscribe. Also comment down below. I love seeing everyone's comments and what the recommendations. I've seen some new recommendations for black romances that I'm so excited to tackle, so if anyone has more, let me know. If you just have normal recommendations, let me know. I love any genre, so let me know. I will look at them and I'll probably add them to my TBR. There's not one book that I've been recommended that I don't put on my TBR, because I can't not put it on my TBR. Even if I might not like it at the end, I'm like, oh, yeah, add it to my list. But yeah, let me stop chippy-chapping, but go follow my other socials down below in the description. Like I always say, I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Everything goes white. I can feel the breeze. Euphoric delight.